afternoon and welcome. My name is Guadalupe Camino and I am a journalist for the New York Times. The panelists today are Eduardo Cano, the Driscoll CEO, Carolina Avila, a worker affected by Driscoll, and Cynthia Teran, an economics professor at Princeton. Our purpose today is to inform you, the Supreme Court, of the effects immigration has on the economy in regards to the recent scandal involving Driscoll. There will be no interruptions during the 17-minute panel. This is for both the panelists and the audience. All questions should be saved for the Q&A period at the end. Each panelist will have 1 minute to answer each question. The first question is for each panelist. Eduardo, what is your stance on the legalization of immigrants?
Hello, my name is Eduardo, and I'm against the legalization of immigrants. According to a study done by American Progress, the cost of legalizing immigrants is $2.6 trillion, meaning we can use all this insanely amount of money and other things that benefits the American citizen in general. One of these things could be college tuition, education in general, medical research, even our borders, we can secure them. We can also help the homeless. There's a lot of ways we can use this money, and I believe legalizing the immigrants is not the priority for this amount of money, and that's why I'm against it.
Carolina, what is your stance on the legalization of immigrants?
Hi, I'm Carolina, and I'm for the legalization of immigrants. According to Open Society Foundation, the vast majority of immigrants that are coming to this country don't have the proper resources or connections to get a green card or get on the visa wait list. And even then, it takes even decades to get a visa, and that's not fair. And I think it's really important that our country reforms our immigration system to recognize all the hardships and the contributions of the people that are coming here to this country. I think it's super important, and I think once we do this, we'll have a better immigration system in this country, and that's why I am for it.
Thank you. Cynthia, what is your stance on the legalization of immigrants?
I'm certainly for it. So let's start off with we are a nation of immigrants, and everyone here should be given the same opportunity to become a citizen and be offered the same opportunities to increase the economy and increase in society. According to the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, immigration produces net economic gains for all native born workers. So it's not just immigrants that are benefiting from this, it's all of us that are working hard in this country and are already citizens. Also, research done by Notre Dame economists Juan Carlos Guzman and Raul Jara found that passing the DREAM Act actually added $329 billion to the U.S. economy. And it would add more by 2030. It boosts all for the economy, it doubled it, and working legally and having higher wages increases the economy and gives more flow to the economy.
The second question is for Eduardo. With the current situation your company is undergoing, what steps are you taking to overcome the issue?
So for those of you who do not know, so my company is undergoing a slight crisis with some of my workers. Some of my workers are saying to boycott our products because of certain things, either for the wage they give or something. And some of the steps I'm trying to do is proving them that we're doing the right thing, so we have a good work ethic. Other things that we do is we take pictures according, like if you go to our website and www.driscolls.com, you can see, how some of our workers or all of our workers enjoy all this workplace, this happy workplace, healthy environment, and the second step I'm going to be doing is, so now that I give you proof that we do the right thing for our workers and do the healthy things, it's to publicly advertise the goodness. So through Facebook, Twitter, I think it's a very important step we can do. And those are the two basically the steps. Yeah.
Carolina, in light of Driscoll's controversy, do you feel personally discriminated or victimized by the company?
I do feel personally victimized. According to the Los Angeles Times, the farm laborers who work and pick produce in the San Diego area make the highest amount of wages, and they have Social Security benefits, and they also have a lunchroom that's filled with nurses, and they start off their day with exercise. But once you go down into the Mexican coastal region, our farm laborers aren't paid the amount of money they deserve. They aren't given the right amount of money for each pound that they make. So it's unfair labor practices, and I think that we need to fix this, and it's really important because people who are working at Driscoll's have a family, they're working to make their lives better, and by having Driscoll's pay them under the minimum wage, that's just simply unfair.
Thank you. Cynthia, do you believe legalizing immigrants will improve the national economy?
I definitely do, because why wouldn't you want to increase economic flow of the United States, increase their power, and increase the money that comes in for each individual of us? According to the White House, immigrants develop cutting-edge technologies and companies that provide jobs for every single individual in the United States. And so to be able to have that is just a great thing to do. And then according to the National Venture Capital Association, it discusses how immigrants have started 25% of public U.S. companies, and that how Google, eBay, Yahoo, and Sun Microsystems and Intel have supported this increase in entrepreneurship. Also, according to the Small Business Administration, immigrants are 30% more likely to start a business in the United States compared to that of 18% of small business owners that are workers here.
Eduardo, do you believe your company would be affected negatively if an immigration reform was to be passed?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, so our company, my manager branch gets the best workers from foreign countries, from immigrants, you know, and so they get the opportunities other companies won't offer. So legalizing immigrants will actually be a cause of loss of revenue to our company. So I definitely think it will be impacted negatively, and that's pretty much it. That's the reason it would be impacted negatively.
Carolina, do you think there should be an immigration reform in the United States, and if so, why?
I definitely believe there needs to be an immigration reform. According to the Open Society Foundation, racial profiling has become so much more prominent in our country today, with Latinos and Asian Americans and other immigrants from other countries, just based on how they look and how they sound. And we can see this through the Arizona law, where any police officer or anyone wearing a badge can simply stop you and say, show me your papers, to see if you have a green card, or if you're a resident, or if you're a citizen. And that's simply unconstitutional. Also, according to Open Society Foundation, detention centers, immigration detention centers, cost taxpayers around $2 billion a year. And in these detention centers, it's mostly women, children, and young adults who are coming to this country and who actually don't even need to be in the detention centers. And these $2 billion can be used for other things such as education, or veterans, or anything else that our country needs.
Thank you. Cynthia, what do you think should be the stance that the House and Senate hold on immigration reforms?
I think they should definitely be for it. They should be able to legalize immigrants and provide opportunities for them, because they do boost earnings for American workers, like I said before, and the increased immigration to the United States has actually increased the American with more high school degrees. Between 1990 and 2004, increased immigration was correlated with increased earnings of Americans by 7%. And then it would increase and contribute more to the economy by 1.8% in the long term, according to the study of University of California Davis.
So in conclusion, Eduardo is against legalizing immigrants because the money used for legalization should instead be used to benefit the United States in education, healthcare, or other aspects. Carolina is for the legalization due to the mass discrimination happening in the U.S. and being denied basic human rights. Cynthia is also for the legalization of immigrants because it will increase the country's economy and produce economic gains. Thank you, panelists and audience, for attending the panel. We will now move on to a 5 to 6 minute Q&A. Are there any questions? Yes.
For Eduardo, where do you see your company in relation to immigrants in 5 years?
So the question is, where do you see your company in relation to immigrants in 5 years, and it's for Eduardo.
Well, I think we have to remain pretty optimistic with this situation going on. So I just see my company the same as it's been, being very successful. We have very loyal customers, and 5 years we can be the same or even better off with or without the legalization. So I think being optimistic, is very important. So yeah, being successful is pretty much it.
Any questions? Yes?
This one's for Cynthia. In what ways do you see the economy growing if immigrants are legalized?
So the question is, in what ways do you see the economy growing if immigrants are legalized? And it's for Cynthia.
Okay, so we can think of it this way. What if they didn't have the same high school degree that all of us are given and the same opportunity of attending college that we are given? So they don't have the skills, they don't have the knowledge and training to be able to work or compete with each individual of us. Then, so what's the point to have an economy that's prospering, because you're not allowing all of your citizens to be able to have this opportunity. So increasing and giving them an opportunity to earn a high school degree, to be able to attend college, because you do need to be a citizen to attend college. In the United States, you would be able to, Native workers will be able to have competition and thus be provided with more increase in higher wages because there's competition in the labor force.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes?
This is for Eduardo. How would you feel if you were in the position of an immigrant undergoing the current circumstances?
So the question is for Eduardo, and it is, how would you feel if you were in the position of an immigrant undergoing the current circumstances?
Well, so first of all, I would rethink my position, so let's say I'm from Mexico, and I think of coming to the United States. I have to think of the whole the barriers that are going to be going through my road. So let's say living in America, having the American dream is actually very costly. We can all agree on that. And so having that knowledge, let's say, and coming to the United States, it's a very difficult thing to think about. And then being away from your family, being away from coming to a completely new environment and being away from your family is actually something to think twice about. So if I were to be an immigrant, I would consider actually going back to where I'm from.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
This is for Cynthia. Is there a response to the $2.6 trillion that Eduardo brought up in the economic perspective?
So the question is for Cynthia, and it is there a response to the $2.6 trillion that Eduardo brought up in the economic perspective?
Yes. Okay, so according to the same research done by American Progress, they discuss how they do not take into account that immigrants have less than a high school education, and how immigrants complement all labor and all natives being here, and skilled and unskilled. And they focus only on immigrants as retirees without taking into account the money that they pay to taxes and IRS, and so they are able to earn that. They should be, the 2.6 is nothing compared to what they give to us as the economy.
Any other questions? Yes?
For Carolina, what are your next steps in relation to Driscoll?
So the question is for Carolina, and it is, what are your next steps in relation to Driscoll?
My next steps is definitely try to find a new job, because my morals don't align with the company's morals. And so I think I need to find somewhere where I can really feel good about where I'm working at every day. And also I'm going to be trying to raise more awareness about immigration reform, especially through this boycott, through different social media platforms, because I think that's really important. I think immigration reform is one of the most pushed down topics that there is, and I think it's really important to raise awareness through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, every social media outlet. Just try to reach out to other people and inform them. And definitely I'm going to take part in the boycott until the